Sup y'all, it's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and as all of the Legion data mining has begun, people have started to find the new legendary items. And so in this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over every single one of the new legendary items. And I want to say something right now, this is probably going to be kind of a long video because I'm going to be talking about them and everything else like that. But if you guys don't want to go through the whole thing, you just want to see the list, I'm going to have a link in the description to where you guys can just go to the Wowhead link, and it's kind of got them all aggregated, and you guys can look at them at your own pace as well. But before we go through the list, I want to tell you guys the way legendary are going to be working in Legion, because it is different. I mean, 55 legendaries, that's like a lot more than we've ever had before, right? They're basically making legendaries the way they are in Diablo 3. And, you know, previously in WoW, it's like you had like Thunder Fury, Sulfuras, Atesh, and like Vanilla, and then maybe Warglaives and Thor Dial and Burning Crusade, but you only had like 1 or 2 legendaries per expansion. And so now what they're doing is they're making legendaries to where you can, best of my knowledge, you kill a boar and you have a chance of getting a legendary. Now, I don't really know what to think about that, but we're going to wait till beta to really make any real decisions and opinions on that as well. But I think it's kind of crazy that they're adding, and crazy like not as a bad thing. I just think it's a new idea, and I'm kind of excited to see the way it's going to play out. Now, one thing I want to say is in Diablo 3, this does have something to do with it, is you obviously, like, there's like hundreds of different legendaries in the game, but there are certain bosses that you were able to kill in the past that would had a higher chance of dropping that legendary item that you needed. And so one of the bosses in D3 is called the Butcher, right? And the Butcher had a higher chance to drop the legendary item called the Butcher's Sickle. And Blizzard has said in the past, regarding the Legion legendaries, that you're going to be able to target the drop rates, and so you can kind of like channel your RNG in a certain direction, I guess. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to work, because I don't really want it to be entirely left up to RNG, but you know, a little bit of RNG could be a little bit exciting as well. And so anyway, before I really start talking too much, let's go ahead and go through the list here. Just 1 second. Now, we're going to be going through these through alphabetical order. Asmongold Stride. It's a boots for tanks, and I think like they're gonna drop, and it's gonna kind of determine it, like it's gonna know like what class you are, and so it can be leather or plate, right? I think that's the way it's supposed to work, but I'm not sure. Another thing, check out those numbers, guys. Look at those numbers. 2,000 agility, 3,000 stamina. Like, what was the item squish for? Right? I mean, like, imagine without it. Like, that'd be like 20,000, not 2,000. And so anyway, I just want to say that right now. There's going to be some crazy-ass numbers. And also, there are no secondary, you know, stats on here. There's no, like, crit or, you know, mastery or anything like that. There's an equip bonus that kind of gives you a new trait, a new kind of passive ability. And some of them are active, some of them are passive. And a lot of them, this is really cool, is that I'm going to be able to use these legendary items to kill low-level players. It's going to be great, and I'll talk to you guys about that whenever we get to them. But besides that, you know, we're going to be kind of we're going to be calling them affixes, right? Because that's what they're called in Diablo 3, just so you guys can understand the terminology that I'm using. So Asmongold Stride, boots, and the affix is when a non-tank ally within 40 yards of you takes direct melee damage, you gain 100% movement speed for 4 seconds. And so first thing I thought is this is going to be really good in Battlegrounds. I'm curious to see if they're going to disable legendaries and legendary affixes in Battlegrounds. I hope they do for RPGs, but for things like this, I hope they don't in randoms. So anyway, let's go to the next one. Amos of the Dreamweaver. It's a shoulder. It's obviously going to be leather, since it's obviously gives a bonus to Druid abilities. Star Surge, which is a Moonkin ability, deals 35% increased damage to enemies affected by both Sunfire and Moonfire. And so that 35%, especially on Star Surge, which is a big hit anyway, this seems like it's going to be really, really strong. And so these legendaries, it's going to be looking like they're going to be kind of, you know, you're going to be kind of shooting for these, and these are going to be what you want to look for in your best in slot. Next one, Boots of Wondrous Rapidity. You know, it gives leather boots, right? Leather boots, they actually gives haste, about 5% haste at 110, and your speed is increased by a portion of your haste. And so that means that you move faster. The faster you attack, the faster you move. And so I think this is like really cool. Like, these are the kinds of things, guys, that I think is really cool in the game. It's like, does that break the game? Not really, no. But it's cool. It's cool. Like, I mean, nobody's always going to use that for raiding, right? But it's a cool little item to have, especially for like, you know, like doing speed farming and like old raids or something like that. Like, having these boots and having them drop, that's cool, right? And that's really kind of what I'm getting out of a lot of these legendaries. Next one, Bramble Helm of Shaladrassel. It's a helmet for, I guess, maybe probably druids. An additional, or agility and strength, and so maybe not. Could also be probably for paladins as well. An additional 0%, that's probably just a bug, of healing received from other allies is applied over this is for tanks, right? This is for tanks. And so it basically makes, like overhealing a hot, like a heal over time. I think that's the way it's going to work. Really, really cool item, and it's going to kind of make bad healers just a little bit better. And so I think this is, honestly, like a lot of these, I really like the way they've been handled. Next one, Cannibal's Fervor. This is a warlock item. Life tap increases your leech by 5% for 10 seconds. This effect can stack up to 10 times. And so this is going to be, again, a very, very strong for, for doing old raids and old content, and especially even with like life tap. I think you're going to be able to make the damage back, especially if you have very, very strong damage as well. And so, again, like another really cool kind of a fix. Now, is this really going to make or break raiding? I don't really think so, but it's definitely, kind of interesting. Next one, Clean Air. Look, I mean, like, let's not, like, I don't know why Blizzard's spelling everything wrong in these. It's just alpha, so what do you expect? Gauntlets, hands, each time you enrage, you gain 20 rage. And so I'm assuming this is going to be for bear druids and also for warriors. And so I think this is really, really nice. And, I'm going to be very curious to see the way that these abilities and these affixes work into the talents and might potentially change the way that you build your character, which I think could be very, very fun. Cinderella. Okay, Cinderella. Equip your special attack. Critical strikes have a chance to increase the haste of you and a nearby ally by 40 for 6 seconds. I don't know if that's supposed to be a percent or not, but that is really, really strong, especially in raiding. Now, some of these are a lot better than other ones. Now, are these actually going to be better than just getting the items with the stats on them? I think that they will be in some circumstances and not in others. And so I'm very curious to see how the balance is going to turn out, but that is another really, really cool item. Let's go. Coiled Ley Lines. You have 20% avoidance while casting, and so that makes it to where, we have a guy in our guild. His name's Giswiki, and I really hope that he gets these items. Okay, I'm just going to say that right now. Collar of the Lifebinder. Use 50% of damage you take, and I'm pretty sure that's a 50%, and this is another tank item. For the next 6 seconds is instead split amongst enemies within 10 yards of you. And so what you do here, guys, is you go into Moonguard, Goldshire, and you invite everybody into your group, and then, you stand and you have duel somebody, and you have somebody attack you, and then you kill everybody in the end. And this is the kind of stuff that I really think is cool, right? And so obviously, kind of the way this is supposed to work is what you're supposed to do is instead split amongst enemies within you. Oh, it's enemies. Damn. I guess you could use that. I guess you could use that in other ways as well. But I'm pretty sure, again, I'll figure out ways to annoy people with this anyway. And so this is kind of like a reflect damage thing. Collar of the Lifebinder. It doesn't really seem like a life-binding thing to do. But either way, another helmet. And I'm assuming this is also another tank item as well. And, all right, let's go to the next one. Cord of the Nightborn. Gives haste, and it also equip whenever you are above 75% health. The cast time of Heal, Flash Heal, Holy Word, Serenity, and so this is a priest item, is reduced by 20%. And so that, actually, this looks really, really good. Honestly, of all the ones we've looked at so far, I think this one might be one of the strongest ones that I've seen so far, because it also gives a secondary stat as well. And so that's really, really nice. Of course, assuming that, priests don't suck. So anyway, next one, Crown of Helheim. Equip Avenging Wrath, generates 1 holy power per second. And so this is, again, another really cool kind of thing that people can use. Ret Paladins, of course. And I think that'll kind of change things up a little bit. Is that kind of game breaking? I don't really think so, but it's definitely really, really cool. And it will increase people's damage. Cursed Burden. While you have an absorb or healing over time effect active on a target, 3% of all damage they receive is reflected. And so that's just like the one that we just looked at a minute ago. And so, again, this is a really, really cool thing. I'm assuming that it doesn't stack, but this would be very, very strong, especially for somebody like a druid or something like that can apply wild growth or some sort of a AoE, what do you call it? And that's also imagine having this on a tank, right? And you're fighting a really hard hitting boss like Mythic Archimond. Over the course of a fight, that's a lot of reflected damage. And so that's another really, really cool item that they have. Destiny Drivers. This is a warrior one, I'm assuming. Last stand and shield wall recharge up to 50% faster, increased by missing health. And so this one, I don't like this one. I don't like this one because it's going to encourage people to try and sit at low health pools as a tank, and again, it just doesn't really seem like a very good idea. But either way, again, it encourages some pretty questionable gameplay. Next one, look, they spelled this one wrong too. Helm of the Everlasting King. You may continue to fight while under aspect of the turtle. Now, I honestly have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, but the way that deterrence works, maybe they might be renaming deterrence into aspect of the turtle. I'm not really sure, but either way, another very, very powerful item, especially for like something in like PvP, where deterrence is like kind of a, like just kind of like, I don't know, like putting things off, and like now you can actually do damage through it while you also are taking no damage. And so unless they change deterrence or something like that, or its aspect of the turtle is something else, this seems to be very, very powerful just by looking at it, regardless of really what aspect of the turtle is. Next one, dream balls. Spawn seeds at a nearby location every 12 seconds. These seeds grow for 6 seconds before blooming, healing all allies within 10 yards. And so I find this kind of interesting as well, and it can kind of, encourage the gameplay of having healers move more into melee range. Now this seems like more of a druid item, of course, and especially since it says Cenarius there on it. But besides that, it seems like more of a druid item. But I know that paladins have more of a combat healer role, and also they're giving Discipline Priests a combat healer role as well. And so we'll see the way this one turns out as well. It's another very interesting thing that can actually change people's gameplay. Earth Warder Scale. Equip your single target healing spells. Apply Lasting Connection, increasing your healing done to that target by 5% to stack up to 5 times. Lasting Connections is reset if you heal a different target. And so this is really good for making sure people turret heal the same thing for healing meters and not heal other people who are taking damage. Definitely a good idea. And so this is, I like this one as well, just because, again, it kind of, it like kind of encourages making choices, but I can see where as a healer it would be probably pretty annoying to have to deal with it as well. I know as a warrior it's kind of annoying to have my class trinket discourage you from switching targets. So anyway, next one, Essence Accelerant. The cost of Thrash is reduced by 20%. Now this is only a belt, so it's not really a big slot, and so that might make it worth it. I'm not really sure. 20% cost reduction is probably only going to be maybe like 8 energy or something like that, because this is obviously I think it's just for cats, but either way, 20% isn't really a lot, so I don't think that this one is really all that good, but what the fuck do I know? I don't have a feral druid. Ear's Tear. Equip your healing critical strikes. Spawn a tear of ear at the target's location. It slowly travels towards you. When the tear reaches you, you gain 500 haste rating, and the cost of your spells is reduced by 5% for X seconds. And so I think that's really kind of interesting, and I'm assuming it will kind of work in the same way that Witherbark works. It's the first boss in Everbloom, where you kind of have like these little globs that like kind of run to him, and I think that this is the way it'll work for him as well. I'm curious to see if this ability will stack or not. So I think this is another really cool item, especially for like standing next to somebody so you can get higher uptime on it depending on how high your crit chance is. More thinking, Fate Bender. Equip Ice Barrier may be cast while casting other spells. Life Tap may be cast while casting other spells, since this is a mage warlock item. Again, I find this also pretty interesting, especially whenever you combine this with potentially the other item that you can cast a Life Tap and get Leech as well at the same time. And so this could kind of allow people to, kind of prepare and like prep up for like a high damage phase by casting Life Tap a few times, and then they have this so they don't actually lose any damage, and they also have the Leech, and so they can leech through that high damage phase just to help themselves survive a little bit more. And so again, and the Ice Barrier thing, I don't really know if Ice Barrier has any like secondary or tertiary coefficients or anything else extra that it does for mages, but again, it's just something where people can activate their defensive cooldowns without having to worry about losing DPS. I went one too far. Gilded Wings. Your healing critical strikes have a chance to summon Valkyr to aid your target, damaging nearby foes and healing your target for a portion of the damage dealt. That's cool as fuck. That's awesome. Like, I had to roll a healer for that. Like, I don't really know what to say else besides that. It's really cool. That's probably the coolest one I've seen so far. Grove Walkers. While you remain stationary, deep roots seep into the ground every 3 seconds, granting you 5,000 healing every 3 seconds, stacking up to 10 times? 1,000, so 5,000 times 10 is 500,000. What the fuck? Oh my god! This is really good! Holy shit! I'm gonna get these. I hope our warriors can get this. This is amazing. Guillotine grips. Essence font may be cast while moving. I don't know what essence font is. Halo of the Ebon Martyr. Ebon Martyr, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. The duration of renew is increased by 100%. Additionally, when your renew attempts to heal an uninjured target, its duration is extended by 3 seconds. And so this is really, really strong, again, preparing people for high damage AoE phases, because you can apply renew to a number of different targets, assuming that that's not like a one-time thing, but you can apply it to a bunch of different targets, so whenever the damage actually goes out, you'll have renew on as many targets as you need to have it on. And so again, another like kind of thing that can, modify and change gameplay. Health Stone. You have a 10% chance to ignore any damage taken. There's no way that can be overpowered at all. I think that's also, it's very interesting because it's just a ring. So how exactly would that work? Chances to avoid damage are very, it's very finicky. And like, is this really a good idea to ever really use? I don't know, but it's definitely an interesting item, I'll say that for sure. Hidden Master's Forbidden Hand Wraps. And this is for monks. If Touch of Death does not kill your target, they will suffer its effect every 30 seconds until they die. And so I think that gives you, because Touch of Death is a 2-minute cooldown, and so that will give you effectively 3 or 4, or I guess like 3 more Touch of Deaths, unless it applies it again at the first 30 seconds of it applying and then not killing your target. 3 to 4 times more Touch of Deaths, and so Touch of Death is extremely powerful, especially as a tank monk. And so this looks like another very, very cool item that you can use. It's going to increase damage a lot, especially for execute phase damage for monks. Next one is Maelstrom Gauntlets. The range of Storm Strike is increased to 20 yards. Wow. That's actually, I'm curious to see how this is going to go. Because I think Ascendants you can attack from range, or you used to be able to, and so maybe they're kind of like giving Shamans like a way where they can like, Enhancement Shamans where they can like fight from range, which is pretty interesting to me. Mantle of a Shieldier. I don't know. Charm an enemy creature that has less maximum health than you. So if I get really good gear next expansion, I think I can charm Ragnaros, which is going to be really cool. And so that that's actually really awesome. Like, I wonder how that's going to work with like raid bosses and stuff. But yeah, you could, because Ragnaros only has like 1 million health or something like that. So yeah, it's possible that you could have more health than Ragnaros. I mean, I'm pretty sure he'd be immune, but if he wasn't, that'd be really funny. So again, another really cool little item, and I'm curious to see how actually all that will work. And it also has mastery on it too. So another just cool item, Mantle of Flames, Mantle of Flames. Equip all enemies within 5 yards of you suffer 5,000 fire damage each second. I don't really think that's going to be very strong outside of just running through old raids and killing things. It's a cool item. It's a really cool item. I'd like to have it, but I don't really think it's going to have actually any real use. And 5,000 more, I guess it's 5,000 more DPS. I'd have to see how much DPS you're actually putting out and compare that to the secondary stat bonuses. But if we're going to compare that to maybe like, like Thunder DPS, you had like 2.2k, 1.70k, depending on, 220k and 170k. Extra 5,000 DPS, I don't really think would make up for the loss in secondary stats. Unless it was like a very big AoE pull, and then I guess it would depend on your class. Maybe you could have your healers wear this or something like that if you don't really need a lot of healing, but you do have a lot of damage. Next one here, or you don't have a lot of damage. You don't need healing, but you do need damage. Nether Prism. Casting Pyroblast reduces the cooldown on combustion by 3 seconds. Damage you take is reduced by 30 per second while channeling Drain Life. And so I really like, again, like that seems very, very overpowered, especially for the Warlock one. The Pyroblast one, combustion's like a 2-minute cooldown, I think. And so the Pyroblast one will probably reduce combustion's cooldown by maybe like at most 30 seconds. But the Drain Life one, man, that looks really, really strong. Especially in, again, in like burn phases or like damage phases, or especially in PvP if they allow you to use it. Very, very interesting. And like things like this almost make me want to play a Warlock, just to to use, like, because like, you guys see all the Warlock things that they kind of have that they're giving Warlocks for their toolkit, and it makes me very excited to actually level up and play my Warlock in Legion. Nightmare Strands. Your taunt effects now last 15 seconds and increase all damage you deal to affected targets by 10%. Wow, it's really, really good, especially for tanks that like to lose aggro. It's too bad we don't have Nerd Slayer in my guild anymore. Let's see. Oily Shreds of the Nightmare. Okay, next one. Knockout. Fuck knows. Footpads of the Death Assassin. Your attacks have a chance to reveal the weakness in your opponent's defenses. While attacking from the weak side, you deal X percentage of increased damage to the target. And so this is probably going to be a reveal weakness thing or something like that. And it might work kind of the same way as I think it's like combat. Yeah, I think it's like combat has like the fine weakness thing where it goes from like green, yellow to red or something like that. And so this is another pretty interesting thing there. And again, I do like this as well, and especially because it encourages like people to get behind their target. But then like there are some bosses that you can't really get behind, and so I can see how for some rogues that could be kind of annoying. Let's go ahead and go to the next one here. Pauldrons of the Golden Valkyr. For Paladins, every enemy hit by Avenger's Shield reduces the cooldown on Guardian of the Ancient Kings by 4 seconds. And so, what we have now is like people just spam Avenger's Shield over and over and over. And so, honestly, like if you had this and you were able to spam Avenger's Shield a lot, you would probably be able to have nearly 100% cooldown uptime by adding Guardian of the Ancient Kings into the rotation. So this is really, really strong. I like it because I like these things because they don't necessarily. Like some of them, like the first one that we looked at, one of the first ones that we looked at, that was like the Druid one, they do kind of like change, like that one didn't really change gameplay a lot, right? Because you're always going to probably want Sunfire and Moonfire on your target, but a lot of these other ones actually do change the way you play your character, and so that I do find very interesting and potentially quite fun. Platinum Riposte. Restore a dead target to life with 60% health and 20% mana, usable in combat. Now, I'm assuming that this is not actually going to take the place and add another battle res onto the ones that you already have, but if they do, everybody in the raid that has an intellect spec, uses intellect, needs to fucking have one of these. It's like Platinum Angel, right, for Magic the Gathering. Let's see, next one. Shackles of Birendor. Right, whatever. Morrowind grants you an additional 20% leech for 6 seconds. I'm not actually sure what Morrowind is, but I think it sounds like a Death Knight ability, right? But 20% leech for 6 seconds is also extremely, extremely strong because that's 20% lifesteal. Very, very good. Shroud of Ysera. We already looked at this one, I guess. Let's see. Smolderweave. Damage caused by Pyroblast gives 200% increased combustion, increased contribution to Ignite. And so I don't play a mage, and so I have no idea how good this is. But whenever I see 200%, it sounds really good. And so either Pyroblast, the contribution sucks to begin with, or this is going to be really, really overpowered. But this is also a chest item, and so you do have to sacrifice a lot to actually use it. Next one here, Soulcaster. Teleport to the location of a friendly player within 50 yards. I find this also, it's like an intervene, but I guess it's for casters, and so I think this is really, really cool. I'm curious to see how actually something like this would play out, especially with that kind of glitching around things and teleporting in places where people are not supposed to be. Soul Weave. It's a cloak, and heals. Your heals apply Eternal Warrior. Like that, yeah. For 8 seconds, if a player dies while Eternal Warrior is active, 20% of your remaining mana is consumed, but they are returned to full health. So what? Like, they just never die? Like, because, 20% of your mana, unless, because they say they're going to make mana, mana's going to count this expansion, and it never does. And so you have somebody with, a lot of mana regen, has this cloak on, just heal people over, a tank dies, who gives a fuck, you just res them up again. Wow. Wow. Sparkling Stompers. Charge leaves a fiery trail that deals damage. Yeah, that's fucking right. It's about time. Star of Norgannon. The radius of Flame Strike is increased by 25%. When Seed of Corruption detonates, it also causes the detonation at your location. Enemies can only be affected once, and so that's smart. Only affected once to keep the Warlocks at a melee range. That's a pretty cool little thing. I don't really think that's going to change Warlock gameplay a whole lot, just because most of the time ads are in the same place, but if not, that is also another thing that could change the way people position themselves. And the Flame Strike thing is pretty cool for more AoE, but nothing too exciting. Like the Warlock shit, guys, I'm gonna be So excited to level Crack Monkey. We just saw this. Oh, I guess... I don't know. Maybe this is a different one. Necklace gives haste. Your inside casts have cast spells, instant cast spells, have a chance to trigger foresight, allowing your next spell to be cast while moving. And so that's very, very interesting. Again, like, that's pretty cool to have. I'm not really sure how much that would proc or anything like that, but depending on how often it procs, that could be very, very interesting, especially for like kind of having people like shuffling and moving back and forth and waiting for procs and everything like that. Next one, Storm Tempest. Arcane Barrage affects an additional enemy per charge of arcane power expended. And so, additional enemy per charge of arcane. Okay, so that means like Arcane Barrage right now, if you have like four stacks of arcane power, I think that's the way it works. Maybe, no, this is for something else, because like then you have the talent. I think this is going to be really good. That's really all I know about this. I don't really play my mage a whole lot, but that sounds relatively strong, especially for AoE situations. Stormtide Drape. When Life Bloom expires or dispelled, it summons Efflorescence. I wonder if that stacks with your original Efflorescence that you have. I think you can summon it now with a Wild Mushroom or not. But if it does stack, that is also going to be very, very strong, depending on how, of course, you want to play your Life Blooms. Stormwing, whenever you cast Healing Rain, a second Healing Rain is summoned at your feet. An ally can only be affected by one Healing Rain, so that's a lot like the Seed of Corruption thing that we just looked at for the Warlocks. And so this is also very, very strong. Like for Shamans, I always really liked like Resto Shaman gameplay, and so that means you can have a Healing Rain in melee range, and you can also have one also the range pile as well. And so really, really strong. And I actually like this would be really cool to have on a Shaman. The Arkanstar. Chain Lightning deals 50% increased damage each time it jumps to a new enemy. Does this chain like 5 times? Holy shit. This is really good. Wow. Yeah, I level my Shaman too. Oh my, these look really cool. These I was like curious to see how they'd be, and these are actually really interesting. This is, I guess, another tank item. The Hog... They spelled it wrong. Upon taking fatal damage, you are returned to full health, but deal 40% less damage and healing for 30 seconds. Can only occur once every 3 minutes. And so that's pretty interesting. It's kind of like the old Argent Defender, and especially since it's not an activate ability, it just happens. And so return to health for 40 full health. Like, that's ridiculous. That's actually like... This is really, really good. Like, honestly, like, I mean, like, are the Legion bosses going to be, like, one-shotting tanks or something like that? Fucking Hulk Dan or something like that? Oh, my God. Like, because you guys saw it, right? The hulked out Gul'dan? Like, maybe he's hitting people for, like, half their health or something like that. And he's, like, 2 hands at the same time. I don't know, but it seems like there's got to be some crazy-ass tank damage in order to for Blizzard to think that you need all this this stuff to keep your tanks alive. Now, the King's Hands, this obviously, as you can tell by the name, is a warrior item. Equip gives you, if you have the Anger Management talent, your cooldown rate is increased to 2 seconds, and so instead of 1 second. If you have Anticipation, you may have 5 Anticipation charges. I'm not really sure what Anticipation is. I think that it could also be... Don't really think it's the overpower thing, but the of course Anger Management makes it very, very strong, and also probably the Anticipation thing is very good as well. I'm kind of waiting to see what's going to happen in Alpha, but this seems very, very good, depending on, again, I guess, the fight. Thorn Braces, whenever you dodge, parry, or block in an incoming attack, or your next auto attack deals 150% increased damage. Very, very strong for AoE tanking, especially for something like a... I guess like it's an auto attack, and so I wonder how it would work with like the bear druids, and like I know like they're I don't know, either way I think this one's pretty cool, especially 150% increased damage is really, really powerful. Tide Caller, your healing wave and healing surge apply receding tides for 5 seconds. Receding tides cause your next heal to also heal that target for 100% of the heal. So that's probably a it's a shaman ability, shaman item. And so healing surge, apply receding tides. Oh, I see. Okay, so it's basically like your next heal doubles the heal, and so that's does twice as much. That's really, really good, actually. I don't know, like usually shamans, like their big heals. Usually, I guess like I wonder if it works with like chain heal, and like all of the different people affected would get healed for 100% as well. That could potentially be very, very good. Time Shifters, standing still for 8 seconds gives you foresight, allowing you to cast spells while moving for 4 seconds, and so. That's pretty cool as well, and so that means you have like almost like half the time. What do you call it? Yeah, about half the time, like 50% time that you can move while you're casting. This is really, really good. Next one, Verjas, Protectors of Berserker Kings. How is this not a warrior? How is this not a warrior thing? The duration of Stagger is increased by 40%. And so that's pretty good for monk tanks. I don't really know how to tank on my monk, and so I don't really know how good it is, but 40% is a big number, and so I'm going to assume it's pretty good. Vermun's Beads of Great Convergence. Necklace, your heal over your overtime effects have a chance to trigger the full remaining value each time. Probably your damage over time, or like just your dots or haunts have a chance to trigger their full remaining value each time they heal or deal damage. And so that seems really, really good, especially for something like Curse of Agony. So again, I don't really know how good that would be for healer, since like you can kind of like predict healing damage usually, but damage obviously or healing, but like doing more damage is obviously always better as a DPS. Chess piece, cloth chess piece. Casting a spell has a chance to call down the light of Anshi at a nearby location for 15 seconds. Allies standing in the light gain 50% haste and 15% spell cost reduction split amongst the affected players. I wonder if this stacks, because if it does, seems really good. Seems really, really good. Again, another thing that changes gameplay, depending on if people are using it, which I think is very interesting. Wilfred's Hood of Superior Summoning. For Warlocks, again, the cast time of all demon summoning spells is removed, and your demons deal 20% additional damage. That's really, really good, actually. Like, I wonder how that works, like, soloing old raids, because, like, you just keep throwing demons at him, and so, like, he kills a demon, just throw another one out there, and they do 20% more damage. Really, really good. Like, honestly, some of these things seem that they could be abused in a lot of different ways. That was the last one. That was the last one. I'm glad that was the last one, because that one was one that was very interesting. And on top of that, they just deal 20% additional damage on top of everything else. Wow, that's really, really good. And so these legendary items have got me pretty excited, as you guys can see. And so I'm really hoping that there'll be more of them as well. There are 55 now, and so just by like looking at, there's maybe only like one or two. I guess like maybe like 5 or so for each class about. I guess like a little bit more for certain ones than others, and some of them carry over between classes. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how you're going to be able to get these legendary items in Legion, which is like my real main question with all this stuff, is how are we actually going to be able to get it? And so anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I also hope that you're looking forward to this as much as I am. But until we can know more, I think that's pretty much all I've got to say for now. So thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.